Colleagues, it's my great honor today to bring you House Bill 2420A, which comes to you from the Committee on Commerce and Workforce Development. But really, this bill comes to you as the result of over a decade of hard work and service by the firefighters of Oregon. Those of you who served in the Senate last session will probably remember that you passed a bill dealing with firefighters and cancer. This is a very different bill and came about through a different process. Firefighters truly are heroes. As we all know, they risk their lives and all too often lose their lives in dramatic accidents when they rush into our houses or commercial buildings to save a person, a child, sometimes an animal. And we hear about those cases, but what we don't hear so much about is the other ways in which firefighting is an extremely dangerous occupation. Firefighters are exposed in much higher amounts and numbers than most workers are to carcinogens and toxic substances. These are in electrical fires, in various ways that a combination of burning materials exposes them to the risk of getting cancer. And what House Bill 2420 does is to create a presumption, as 27 other states have already done, that certain kinds of cancer are caused by the work that firefighters do. Those types of cancer, as named in the bill, are brain cancer, colon cancer, stomach cancer, testicular cancer, prostate cancer, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, throat and mouth cancer, and rectal breast cancer and leukemia. Now, the bill creates what I called a presumption. It doesn't mean that automatically somebody who contracts cancer and is a firefighter will have a workers' compensation claim accepted. It just shifts the burden of proof that the condition is not work-related. And it does it with some very significant sidebars. So first, this only applies to non-volunteer firefighters. They have to have worked as paid firefighters for at least 5 years. Second, the claim has to be filed after July 1st of 2009. So even though there are many people who could use the protection of this bill right now, it does not apply retroactively. Next, it has a cutoff date. You have to, as I said, have been a firefighter for at least 5 years, but after you retire, your cancer will only be covered under the terms of this bill for 7 years after the date that you retire. The bill also establishes what's called a rebuttable presumption. This was language that was carefully crafted together with employers and their attorneys to say that the employer can establish by clear and convincing evidence that the cancer was not work-related, or if tobacco use was involved, that's also a defense against these claims. And finally, for prostate cancer claims, the coverage of this bill is only applicable to firefighters who are age 55 or under. Colleagues, I said this came about through a process much different than the bill that you voted on last session, and that is because after the bill did not pass in the House of Representatives, the stakeholders in this bill came together and remarkably were able to address virtually every concern about the bill. And so that you see in front of you today a floor letter that shows support for this bill from the Firefighters Association, from the fire chiefs, from the Volunteer Firefighters Association, from the Special Districts Association, the employers of many of these firefighters, from the fire district directors, and from the city of Portland, as well as other cities. And that is because it really is a very balanced and fair bill. In committee, colleagues, we heard some really heartbreaking stories. We heard from a firefighter who developed stomach cancer at a very early age, in his early 30s, so early that his doctor said he had never seen a case of stomach cancer in such a young person, and he had a young family at a time, and told us about the impact on his family of having to fight this life-threatening condition. And we heard from other firefighters who have cancer and are battling the condition right now, who have been working very hard on passage of this bill, even knowing that it will not help them because it isn't retroactive, but that it is extremely vital that we provide this protection and make this change for people that come forward. So, colleagues, this is a bill that I think is one of the most important bills we will pass this session. I said earlier I was honored to carry the bill. I think it's even more of an honor to be able to pass this bill today with the gallery packed with literally hundreds of firefighters and their families who have worked so hard to see the bill come before you. The bill passed unanimously in committee. It passed the House of Representatives with only one no vote, and I urge you to give it your support today. Thank you, Mr. President.